going to attempt to put stop leak in this one. These are pretty nice. I don't see any air bubble in this one. It's all built together in one. You just screw this, you just screw this onto your port, screw your gauge in there, let your high side feed back through here, and just let it push in the stop leak. So there it goes. It's that easy.
Here's some extra refrigerant for you.
Yep. There we go. Now she's empty. It's in the system. We got a new 7.5 capacitor. To get them by overnight, we put in a set of capacitors in series. And it's gonna look really weird, but there's the two brown wires. This was just jumper to there. And then we had the two brown wires on each end of each of those. And until a comment on a post, I didn't even know this was possible. We have a 30 and a 10. And we put those in series. And when we measure across, we get 7.9. With what we had, that's the closest that we could come up with to a 7.5, because we just didn't have a damn 7.5. We had everything around it. But it's crazy to think you take a 30 in series with a 10 and you can get a 7.5. So if I unhook these individually, I'll show you here. This one gives us 10.6 by itself. This one gives us 30.5 by itself, 30.6 by itself. So 30.6 and 10.6. The math to figure out what you're going to get, what it's going to be basically the capacitor we want is going to be equal to 1 over whatever this one is, 30 plus 1 over 10. So when you work that math out, you'll figure that. And there's no way in hell I'm doing this in my head. 1 divided by 30, actually it's a 30.6, wasn't it? And 10.6. All right, let's make sure we get the math right. 1 divided by 30.6 is going to be basically a 0.33. We'll round up. And then a 1 divided by 10.6 is going to be a 0.094. Did I do that? 1 divided by 30.6. Sorry, that was a 0.033. 0.094. Now we add those together. 0.033 plus 0.094 is going to equal 0.127. So it's going to be 1 over 0.127, and then we do that math, which is 1 divided by 0.127, and then that's where we come up with 7.87, which I forgot what we had. So we'll just measure it again real quick. 7.9. Looks pretty good to me. Alright, so for anyone that actually wants to learn this, let's say we take a 40 and a 30. Who wants to figure out what that's going to be? Again, our capacitor will be 1 over that capacitor, and then 1 over, C1, either one of those, plus C2. So we'll measure what this one is. You guys can pause it and do it yourself and see if you get the right answer. So our 40 rated capacitor is actually getting 39.5. So we'll make that one capacitor 1. 39.5. And then number 2, we already knew it was 30.6. So then it's just a matter of mathing the math. That would still be a 1C. Math tells us 1 divided by that 39.5 is going to be 0.025. Now we can put another digit if we want to try to be even more accurate, but we can only read 0.1 digit on our meter. And then for capacitor number 2, 1 divided by 30.6 will be 0.03. We'll round it up to 3. So it's going to be 1 over whatever those two add up to be. It's going to be a 0.03. 0.0583. Maybe we can make a 3. So that 1 divided by 0.0583 tells us 17.15. So let's see if the math's right. 17.3. We'll take it. Plus 10% or minus 5%. We're in range. Now, one additional thing. Here was our original math. What do you guys think will happen if we put all 3 in there? We already know the math for these 2. But if you add another one, you're going to be just going plus 1 capacitor 3, which we know was 1 over 39.5. Damn, that's some ugly writing. 0.025. So now we just add those 3 up. 0.033 plus 0.094 plus 0.025. Now we end up with a 0.152. 1 divided by 0.152. 6.57. And we get 6.6. So if you need to come up with an exact 6.6 microfarads, there's your way. It's strange though, we can take off this big 40 and now we got a 7 left. But if we add it, we drop down another 1 microfarad. Interesting.
I would have never guessed in a million years that adding capacitors with each other just by one leg decreases the EMF leak.
So now we're running back on the original 7.5 capacitor, but she did run overnight with our 7.8 capacitor that we made. Huh. The system's only been running like 20 minutes with a stop leak, and I no longer hear that leak. That's pretty insane, but I wish I would have listened to it right before we put the stop leak in it too, though. Damn rain.
Thank you, sir.
So, yeah, stop leak. We found the leak yesterday, so I'm kicking myself for not listening to it today on camera. It was a very evident leak yesterday. We've had pretty good luck with this. Next time I go to use this, we're definitely doing it before and after. See if it actually does work in 20 minutes time, or if this was a fluke. Let us know. You guys use it? You like it?